Thanks for joining me again. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is, what kind of tools would be needed for a new engineer at work. You go to college, and sure, you know how to use Microsoft Office and Word, PowerPoint, Excel. Yeah, these are basics, and some people might tell you, don't even put that on your resume. It's expected. Well, there's a debate about that because a lot of application tracking systems, what they do is they look for keywords, and if you don't have these keywords, unfortunately, your resume might not even show up in a bin for the recruiter or hiring agency or whoever it is that's looking at all these applications. It might not even show up because the tracking system didn't catch those keywords. So there's a debate about that, but of course there are other keywords that hold more weight, right? Sure, so they'll say minimum required, and then they'll say recommended. If you have a blend of both in your resume, that's great. On top of that, going back to what kind of tools an engineer and an engineering student should have, in my opinion, one of the things that adds a lot of value, especially when you're searching for jobs, when you're trying to make yourself more marketable, look for job descriptions, not just for entry-level jobs, because a lot of entry-level jobs don't have very, very thorough descriptions. That's the whole point. You're entry-level. They don't expect you to have a whole lot of tools and knowledge and experience coming in. Unfortunately, yes, still some might expect it a little bit because they'll think either you have some internships or other research-based work that you've done with some kind of collaboration effort with some external entity that might have exposed you to these tools. But other than that, I've seen entry-level job descriptions that were like three lines, 4 lines. Minimum requirement. You're graduating at this time. Okay, great. Maybe a minimum GPA requirement, and maybe they'll throw in a few words like no relocation, so that they'll just try to get local candidates. These are definitely ways that they try to cut down the number of applications for a particular entry-level position. Also, when you look for some of the more experienced positions as to what they're looking for, you can also start digging and finding out, what application system are they using, what specific keywords are there. Start Googling them, start searching for them on the internet, and what that will do is it'll lead you towards other industries that also might use that technology. It might take you to the vendor's website. I mean, think about it. There's a lot of discussion about, Revit versus AutoCAD. Both are used pretty much in the same industry, but you'll find so much information online about, why one is better than the other or where the world is going towards. And having those tools, just even knowing about them, just even knowing the differences between them, even if it's like on an academic level and surface level, sets you apart when you talk to the recruiter, manager, even if there's like a whole panel interview and a bunch of people are interviewing you, you'll see the common things. Everybody talks about basically the same thing for the most part. They're trying to gauge you. And so if you can even carry a conversation about the different tools that are being used to carry out a day-to-day activity, just even knowing about them, believe it or not, just even knowing about them will set you apart. So this is how I would do things, right? If you're an electrical engineer, civil engineer, mechanical engineer, put in those keywords, start looking for jobs. Maybe you like an industry, maybe you like a particular product. I don't know, maybe you want to work for Tesla or Apple or what have you. You go on their job site, right? Don't just look for entry-level jobs. Look for some other titles and see what they're looking for. Look at the keywords, look at the descriptions. See if you can match up some of your, whether you're an engineer with 1 year of experience or 20 years of experience, while you're doing an engineering job, the wording may not be too different. Hey, I'm implementing a system. Sure, a system could be as complicated as, launching a rocket and having it land, back on Earth, right? SpaceX does that. That's a pretty complicated engineering project. Or an engineering project could be something like, creating, your RC car working on your own personal project or your own college project, there's engineering involved in that. You calculate things. If it's a battery-based system, it's a fuel-based system, you're doing your calculations. And if you're doing mechanical engineering, you're doing your aerodynamics calculations and understanding the stresses and whatnot on your components, right? Electrical systems, checking to see what voltages you need, what currents you need. It's all engineering, yeah, on a whole different level, but it's still engineering. So look at those descriptions, okay? Try to incorporate some of that language into your resume, and that'll put you apart when it comes to other candidates, because you're competing with a lot of people, right? So when it comes to tools, this is also another tool. Knowing how to present yourself. Presentation skills matter a lot. At the end of the day, they talk about elevator pitches. There's a reason for elevator pitches, because people's attention spans. I mean, I probably lost half the people here today. They're not watching the video, after the first 30 seconds, or maybe after 10 seconds, I don't know. The whole idea is that you want to, reel people in and present to them the information up front, and if they're interested, they continue to look for the details, right? They'll start digging for the details. So essentially, going back to tools, your tools are your softwares, right? Your tools is also just your general knowledge about the industry you're applying to when it comes to jobs. Having a general sense of understanding of how these businesses actually make money. It might never come up in your interview, but if you know what the business model is, you understand exactly where you fit in that business model. Okay, I worked for companies where I never interacted with the salespeople, and I worked in areas where the sales guy was basically talking to us every time there was a request for a new quote, because we were working on custom designs for different equipment. And they said, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? We have a new customer. What can we do for them? Do we have something off the shelf? That type of language. And so essentially, your tool is understanding not only just the tools used to create something, but also to sell it. Your tools are not just technical. It could be soft skills. It could be analytic skills, dissecting information, how you do that, understanding the language in which something is described. These are all various tools by which you can either gain yourself, right? You use these tools, you analyze a situation, you analyze a job description, a job proposal, and you can also use these tools to present a much better version of yourself. And you're not falsifying anything, you're just creating a more clearer picture, right? Yes, I did XYZ. No, you did XYZ using this much tools, these many tools, in a certain amount of time, under a certain amount of budget, so that's a much clearer picture. So work on those skills. Dissect job descriptions, follow through, plug in those same job descriptions and some keywords into the job site. Don't, change your radius, see throughout the country, throughout the world, what kind of job descriptions are out there, and follow, start tracing where the industry is going, start tracing what the employers are looking for in entry-level candidates, mid-level candidates, in their managers. It's a good way to educate yourself. So those are my tips for new graduates, when it comes to tools and understanding the job market and applying for jobs and how you can better yourself. I hope you found this useful, and please do join me for the reviews. Also, if you want to add a comment and share some of your ideas about this, please do so. I will be appreciated. All right, I'll see you guys again next time. Thank you.